We got some comics to talk about. Will they make good film and television shows? Find out right now. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I'm trying to do catch up on my comics right now. My comic shop was closed on Monday and Tuesday, so I'm just getting into it now. And yeah, excited to do so. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I am an award winning screenwriter, novelist, comic book writer, as well as a line producer local to Los Angeles, but recently moved to Atlanta, and it looks like things are starting to heat up. I'm starting to get to do some budgets and things like that. So excited to get back to work. But if you're wondering what kind of stuff I do right and wanted awards on, first of all, my pilot, Renegades Amanara, that featured Nichelle Nichols, who played the original Uhura in Star Trek. It was her final performance, and we are winning all kinds of awards there. So thank everybody that worked on that to bring it to life. I know it was a labor of love for everyone. All right, and also I have a Kickstarter playing right now for Lords of LA #2. And issue 1 is also available. In fact, I have half of issue 2 is already completed. I'm just printed it out so I can read it and correct any mistakes and spelling mistakes and grammatical errors and things like that. And then issue 1 is also available. A lot of the covers for issue 1 have been retired because of them were Kickstarter exclusives, and we're going to be doing the same thing for issue 2. This is a vampire mob set in 1950s, and with the special appearances by Marilyn Monroe and Barbara Stanwyck and things like that. But there's plenty of it's mature, so there's plenty of blood and guts and sex and all that stuff going on. Anything you kind of want from a vampire book. So we only have 48 hours left, people. We are fully funded, so now is a perfect time to get in before it ends. So jump in on that, and if you can, anything you can give really is appreciated. I am trying to unlock another stretch goal. We only have a couple $100 more, and not even a couple hundred, like $150 more, and we unlock the next stretch goal. All right, so let's jump into some comics. But before that, there's the QR code, and the description below has the link to the Kickstarter, or you can literally go to the Kickstarter and type in Lords of LA. It'll come right up. All right, so let's jump right into it. We are. I'm going to cut these back. I was doing like 5 or 6 issues, but they were going too long, so we're going to be just doing 3. I'm just going to do more episodes instead. All right, so especially now I have 12. I picked up 12 books this week, so that's like 4 episodes right there. So we're going to talk about Wonder Woman by Tom King and why this is a piece of shit. So you know the old adage that says, show don't tell. The only reason I'm really staying with this is because of the art. And the art is fantastic. I mean, look at Wonder Woman's face there. So right in the beginning, you could tell the writing is crap because you have this guy the security guy's not even looking up at her. But I know the joke. He's like, oh, he didn't know he was Wonder Woman, so therefore he's, bothering. The guy would get fired. But he never says ma'am. He says lady. Who does that? Who is greeting somebody and says, hey, lady, get out of my way. Hey, lady, why are you standing there in front? This guy is the worst employee ever. And he only says ma'am once he knows it's her. Really bad. Look at the amount of dialogue and captions in this page. And that's how it is through the entire book. I mean, he's just trying to be verbose for no reason. With the blue captions, I didn't even understand what the hell he was talking about half the time. I think it's the villain, trying to, do villainy stuff, but it made no sense. It was just like blah, 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 blah. That's all I even saw in my head was blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So the villain here is the old bald guy, and he's talking to one of the only guys that was left. I guess the only guy that didn't really get hurt too badly during his fight with Wonder Woman. And the villain's like, well, how does it feel to be beat up like a girl? I'm like, really? We have to go with the patriarchy thing? Is that what we're trying to go with here? But the guy doesn't speak in military jargon whatsoever. He speaks like he's like 2 years old, man. That he's done absolutely no education whatsoever. I mean, it's crazy. Hey man, how you doing? He's the way he's talking. He's talking to like this the whole time. I don't know, yeah, it's crazy. Uh, the writing is really really bad in this book. I mean, really bad. The dialogue is just horrendous. So and we have all this stuff, and I think that he feels like he has to fill up every single panel with a caption. I mean, look at the amount of captions there for nothing. And why is Wonder Woman kicking people in that? And I don't really understand what's going on. Why are they shooting at her? And then on top of that, she's yawning while she's blocking bullets. It's really really horrendous. I mean, again, the artwork is really good. I mean, her walking out of the elevator is really good. Anything I can say is anything I say good about this issue is purely because of the art. And I guess the villain has this lasso of lies, which he has the other guy hold, and he's like filling the guy's head with lies with as he's, I guess, controlling him, as in opposed to forcing the guy to tell the truth. So she finally breaks into Sergeant Steele's office and it basically just sits there, while he points a gun at her. Whatever. So he fills this other guy's head with lies, and I guess that forces him to commit suicide. I don't understand how that works. But, Diana's just pissing this guy off just by her pure presence there. And then this is where it gets weird, too. It's like Tom King doesn't really understand Wonder Woman. Again, the art's great, but she's like, and I have an invisible jet. And it's got Gatling guns on it, and it doesn't look very invisible. Usually it just has the outline there or whatever. Yeah, I don't get it. Why would her thing have Gatling guns on it? She doesn't kill. That's her big thing, is that, she tries, she's a pacifist if she can be. She's a warrior, but she can be but she attempts to be a pacifist. And then it goes to the girl that killed the guy in the bar, and you realize that she's pregnant, or she's told that she's pregnant. So I guess that's where Trinity's supposed to come from. I really don't care about Trinity. She was introduced in a Free Comic Book Day comic, and she came off like a complete, I hate to say this, complete bitch. She was just a bitch to John and Damien. And I really have no desire to see anything else on this character. But then they go into her as a child, and Damien's cursing. I guess he says fuck or whatever, and she's repeating it. So she's like, "Oh fuck it!" And John's like, "You're in trouble, man." She keeps repeating that stuff, and so John leaves to go do whatever he's doing, kiss his boyfriend or whatever he is, and we get to see Trinity dressed up like a Robin, which is kind of cute, and then they go fight Killer Croc, and she's kind of hanging in the background going, what do I do? What do I do? And which I think is kind of cool too. So the backup issue is actually written better, and she kicks Killer Croc, although I don't know how her mask can develop that kind of power, but whatever. And they kind of, I guess she just falls asleep in his lap kind of thing, and I'm not sure why there is a picture of Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman on the wall on somebody that has a secret identity. But whatever. Anyway, that's that. So, will it be a good film or television? No, absolutely not. It is very, very poorly written, extremely poorly written. All right, so let's go into Moon Knight. So if you guys are, fans of the television show, this is nothing like it. Thank God. But anyway, we have this Black Spectre guy who's kind of like Bane, where he's bringing back old villains to fight Moon Knight. And Moon Knight infiltrates. Now we're at the end of this storyline, so he's infiltrating his base, and Zodiac has been sent to Moon Knight's base to mess with his people, but is like a vampire there. Tigra, since last issue, has been stuck on a plate, pressure plate that's rigged with a mine. So she's stuck there doing nothing. Why? I don't know. So Hunter's Moon is all messed up. Moon Knight's all messed up, but they're fighting their respective villains. And I mean, the artwork is weird. Some of the fight scenes, I don't even know what's happening. So I'm really not a fan of this particular artwork, especially for Moon Knight, where everything is kind of boxy and his cape and everything else. Like, look at that last panel. I have no clue what that even is. It's just pieces of cloth, I guess. I don't even know. So yeah, and again, I don't like the artwork on this. It's kind of anime-ish, I guess. But she's stuck on the power plate and then the pressure plate, and then Soldier comes in and I guess gets her out. He cuts whatever wire needs to be cut. And then Zodiac goes into Moon Knight's base, and he says, well, I don't believe in crucifix, but I believe in myself, so I'm going to use Zodiac, his thing that's around his neck, as a crucifix. What? I don't think it works that way. I don't think it works that way. So we get some really nice kind of fight scene here. But he ends up defeating Black Spectre and or whatever his name is. It's Mark Spectre and Black Spectre. I just realized that. And he realizes that it's the guy that used to be Black Spectre back in the day. And he's like, what? Huh? How can it be him? I put him away. But then again, the other guy was breaking people out. And we have a big explosion. And Mark is shot in the back. And we find out, well, I'm going to tell you here in a second, but there's the continuation of Zodiac's fight with the vampire, who now turns to mist, so he's kind of messed up there. He's kind of screwed. And I'm not sure how that turns out yet, but I don't think it turns out very well for the guy. So now we have another Black Spectre that shot Mark in the back, or Moon Knight in the back. And I don't know enough about the lore, the Moon Knight lore, for this guy to show up at the end and says, yeah, Plesko, that's me. Because he takes the helmet off. And the reveal is lost on me. Because I don't know if he was introduced in past issues that I missed. I don't know. But yeah, so I guess the Moon Knight is going to be dying in either probably the next issue or something like that, because they've been teasing the fact that he's going to die and there's going to be another Moon Knight in there. Even though we have Hunter's Moon, we have two of them right now, which means Tigra would also be off the title because she's dating Spectre right now. She's dating Mark Spectre, which is Moon Knight. So we'll make a good film and television show. I really like this. I like the storyline. We have a bad guy that seems to be one step ahead of him at times, which is always good for a villain. Obviously, the villains now beat him. So yeah, I like this. So yeah, this definitely would be better than what we got for the TV show on Disney Plus for sure. All right, so let's go. So what I'm trying to do one Marvel, one DC, and one Independent is what I'm trying to do. So because nowadays I'm getting just as many independents as I am the big three, or the big two, I should say, not including Image. So Image, I would say, would be the third one. But Void Rivals, this is the story by Robert Kirkman, who created Walking Dead. And this is almost, I started out like Enemy Mine. This is part of the Energon universe, which is like, has Transformers and stuff like that in it. And there's no Transformer in this one. One of the villains, I think, is, but that's about the extent of it. But they started out like Enemy Mine, so you had two warring races that end up being stuck on a planet. They got together and rebuilt a spaceship out of the parts that they had, and then they took off, and then we're deciding which place to go. They got taken by another alien who ended up making a deal with them. I'll give you a ship if you give me your ship, because your ship's made out of stuff that is more valuable. So they end up making the deal, and as they're about to go back, deciding which side of the ring they were going to go on, whether who was going to be the most wanted, because the two races that are warring another both share the same ring, or whatever the ship is, where this entity is that they live on is a ring, and they divide it up, and they've been at war forever. But they're always wearing helmets, so they have no idea who each other are. But then they realize they were the same race, because they both took off their helmets in front of one another. So she screws the other guy over and zaps him and takes him back to her planet as a prisoner. All right, which kind of pissed me off. So then when I guess he's a prince and she's a princess, and they don't realize it. So she's the daughter of the king or whatever. And when he asks her if she saw his face, she says yes, and he throws her in jail. So as the other guy's being interrogated, a group of resistance fighters rescues him, and he says, "Look, I'm not leaving without her." So, which I thought was kind of cool. So we have a very arrogant woman, female, and a guy who wears a heart in his sleeve, and she has totally unapologetic about how she is. So we have good chemistry there because we have a contrast of personalities. The resistance group needs him, and he says, "I'm not helping you until you help her." So they rescue her, and they have a ship primed and everything like that. And she's like, "I don't understand why you're helping me." And she's like, "Yeah, it's really not my idea." So she's not very well liked on her own side of the ring. And so then we have the guy that bought their ship. He ended up getting captured by this group of like godlike creatures. And they're like, "Yes, you're right. This ship was built by this other race, and I didn't realize the race really existed." And I guess they're going to try to find this thing now, because they knew somebody that they said was going to create this race. I don't really know what's going on there. It's kind of a mystery. But anyways, then she reunites with him, and he's like, "Why did you save me?" He's like, "You would have done the same for me." And she's like, No, I would not. I would, just so we're clear, I would not have saved you. But the resistance tells him that he needs to go back to his side and take a message. And meanwhile, the king is all pissed that they escaped and sends out drones. And I'm really not a fan of this artwork either. It's kind of bland. But the story's good, so I'm getting through the bland artwork. And as they're trying to get to the ship, they get intercepted, and one of the child or whatever else, the young man who is working with the resistance, admits that he betrayed them because they were going to help him find his mom. So the two take off on a motorcycle with wheels. If you're going to have a futuristic thing, why don't they just have a hover bike? I don't know. It's kind of weird that it has wheels. I don't know how you guys feel. But the action is pretty good there. I got no problem there. And as they start trying to go back out of there as quick as possible, the king is pissed and says, "We have got to find them no matter what." And that's where it kind of ends. So, yeah, I would have liked a little bit more in there. I feel like it kind of ended abruptly. But the story's good. It keeps propelling it. If it's more than 12 issues, I'm going to be surprised, because this feels like it's a story that has a beginning and end, not like Moon Knight and stuff like that, where you can just keep telling stories on the same character. This already has an ending in mind, I think. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes with Robert Kirkman. So to recap, I'm going to say yes to Void Rivals. I think everybody's really enjoying that. and yes to Moon Knight. So we got 2 out of 3. I'm going to say yes to, and Wonder Woman is a definite no. And I can't even wait for Tom King to stop writing this title. I don't know why we cannot get a good Wonder Woman writer in. I just do not understand it. We've had Marika Tamaki and Becky Clunrad there, and now we have Tom King. So it's like we have 3 bad writers in a row, and if it's going to take him 2 years to get off this title, it's like 10 years before we had I'm going back and reading George Perez stuff, and it's 10 times better than this stuff. So probably almost like 100 times better. So yeah, we just need to get somebody else in here. Get him off this title as quick as possible. The sales cannot be good. Everybody in the world is making fun of this thing. So just like they're making fun of Batman now and Catwoman with Chip Zdarsky and Tini Howard, I don't know where they're picking these people from. I mean, Tom King hasn't written anything good in years. So I don't know. But anyway, so that's it for me on this episode. And remember, if you can help out with Lords of LA, it's going to put it on this side because the thing's on that side. If you can help out with Lords of LA, that'd be greatly appreciated. Again, link is below. The QR code is there. And if not, just go to Kickstarter.com and type in Lords of LA. It'll take you right to it. Again, 48 hours left, so let's try to unlock a couple more stretch goals before we finish up. All right, I'll have a couple of more videos pop up here, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for helping me grow the channel out. I really appreciate all of you, and happy holidays. Have a good one.